Hello everyone. I am your faculty, mentor, teacher, facilitator, anything or everything. Welcome to the course of Business Regulatory Framework. And this course is particularly about business law. And when we talk about business law, the first concept, the first unit, which is mandatory for everyone, is Indian contract. Before discussing the Before going into depth of the Indian Contract Act, let's know what is the law of contract. So, law of contract is basically the law on which is basis forming the basis for everything for each and every contract. And this is governed by the Indian Contract Act 1872. So, in India, law of contract means Indian Contract Act 1872. It deals with the general principles of law which govern all contracts. Now, apart from general principles, it also has some special provisions relating to the special contracts like bailment, pledge, guarantee, indemnity, as well as agency. So basically, law of contract governs two parts. First part is related to the general principle, which is applicable for every contract. The second part is related to the specific provision or a special provision, which are specifically applied to the bailment, pledge, indemnity, guarantee, as well as agency. Now, the question is whether the law of contract is only applicable to the business houses or in business scenario. No, this is applicable in business as well as in day-to-day life. So, personal life, there are several examples, or there are several cases, particularly in regard to Indian Contract Act 1872, which is related to the personal lives. Now, what is the contract? Contract means in general life, suppose we purchase a notebook. So while purchasing a notebook, you are entering into a contract with the bookkeeper, with the shopkeeper who is giving you the notebook. Or similarly, suppose you are ordering something from online e-commerce websites. So when you are ordering something, anything of your daily use for your necessities, for your study purpose, any stationery item, paper, pencil, pen, copy, mobile phone, etc. So when you are purchasing or when you are ordering anything, it means you are entering into the contract with the vendor of the particular product. Now, what is contract? The question is, what is contract? As per Indian Contract Act 1872, Section 2, subsection H. Now, one thing which you need to keep in mind, all the definitions regarding the terms which are being used particularly for this special contract are governed under section 2. Now, what is contract? As per section 2 subsection H of the Indian Contract Act, it is an agreement between two or more parties which is enforceable by law. So in short, we can also say that it is an agreement which is enforced by law, and agreement, or we can say that agreement which is enforceable by law is termed as the contract. So basically, we can say that there are two main components for any contract. First is agreement, and second is enforceability by law. So when a contract is being termed as the contract, when An agreement is enforceable by law. So we can also say that agreement plus enforceability by law convert any agreement into the contract. Now the question is, what is agreement? Again, as per Contract Act, as per Indian Contract Act 1872, agreement means it is an acceptance of mutual assent by two or more parties for each other. Suppose when you and your friend are accepting anything, or you are giving mutual consent for for anything, for any transaction, for any trip, so you it is being said that you are in agreement with each other. It means agreement means acceptance, or it is the mutual assent by two or more parties. Now, what is promise? So promise is also being defined. Section 2E, as per Section 2E of the Indian Contract Act, promise means so agreement as per Act, agreement is defined as per Section 2, subsection E of the Indian Contract Act 1872. As per Section 2, Section E, what is agreement? Agreement means every promise and every set of promises forming the consideration for each other is an agreement. Now means whether persons are giving promise or there is a set of promises which are forming the consideration for each other. Now there are two terms are involved in this definition. One is promise and second is consideration. What is promise? Again, it is defined in that promise means when a proposal is being accepted, it becomes a promise. Suppose any person, suppose Ram or X offers to sell his car for rupees 1 lakh, although it is a very less amount, but suppose to Y. Now, Y accepts this offer. So, it was basically a proposal which was given by X to whom? To Y. And Y is accepting the proposal. Proposal, the definition of the promise is as per act is a proposal when accepted becomes promise. So basically here Y is accepting the offer. So this offer is converting into promise because it got the acceptance from the other party or it got the acceptance from the Y. And this promise is treated as an agreement because what is agreement? Again, section 2, subsection E. Every promise and every set of promises forming the consideration for each other. So, when one person is accepting the proposal, it is means it is giving in consideration 1 lakh rupees. Both are giving something in return. Y is accepting the offer and Y is going to give 1 lakh rupees in return. And X is going to give his car to Y. So basically, it is being termed as the agreement. It is an agreement, but it is not contract. When there would be enforceability by law, then it would be termed as the contract. Now, the term, what is the meaning before discussing the difference between agreement and contract? Let's make clear what is the meaning of the term enforceability by law. Enforceability by law means when both parties have option to sue each other in case of default or in case of any party is not going to perform the contract or any party is making default, then other party has option to take legal action against the first party. So this is enforceability by law. They have option to take the legal action against the other parties. Now we will discuss what is difference between agreement and contract. So these are 4 points on the basis of which we have differentiated between two terms, agreement as well as contract. Meaning. The first is meaning. Again, agreement means every promise and every set of promises forming the consideration for each other. Now, what is contract? When agreement enforceable by law, it becomes contract. Scope agreement is wider because it is considering both legal and social agreement, but contract is used in narrow sense. It only includes legally enforceable agreement. Legal obligation agreement may not create legal obligation, because in case if it is a social agreement, then it is not possible that it is always going to create the legal obligation. But in case of contract, because the contract is always a legal agreement, it is going to create a legal obligation. And what is the name? How we are going to differentiate between the agreement and contract on the basis of their nature. So all agreements are not contract, because only those agreements are contract which are enforceable by law. But all contracts are agreements. So that's all for the day. We will meet in next session. Till then, bye bye and see you soon.